Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today's the first video or not fucking today. This video is the first of many for today, actually. You're going to be getting a few today. I think 3 videos, because yesterday was the quarterbacks. Today you're getting wide receivers, running backs, and tight end, start, sits on a Saturday. So let's get right into this bitch. It is a wide receiver start sits video. If you have not subscribed, please go down below and click that subscribe button, because not only is it going to help me, it's going to help you too, because I'm going to help you guys dominate your fantasy football league. You already dominated the draft if you've subscribed to me. And if you weren't subscribed before that, then you were still going to dominate the fucking rest of the league, because I'm going to help you guys do that. If you had a bad draft, you can still win. So please click that subscribe button. So let's get right into this week 1 wide receiver start sits. Also follow me on Twitter, because I have 1,000 YouTube subscribers and only 50 Twitter subscribers or fucking followers, and I look like a goddamn idiot. So let's get right into this. First game on the slate: Rams at Panthers. This is a 1 o'clock game, EST game. Start. You're gonna fire everyone up. Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. Pretty much all the premier guys on the Rams. All gonna have pretty solid games. While I don't love Kupp overall for the season, because I think his injury may flare up and fuck him over, I think he should be fine this week against the Panthers. Should be a pretty good matchup. Pretty high scoring game. I like DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. Like I said, it should be a high scoring game. There should be no brainer that you're going to start all of these guys on your team. You drafted all of them pretty highly, except for, I guess, Curtis Samuel, who probably went the latest out of all of them. You should be confident firing all of them up this week. Rams at Panthers. Second game, Skins at Eagles. You're going to start Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. The Eagles should absolutely obliterate the Redskins this week. It should be an absolute bloodbath. The fucking Carson Wentz should destroy them. It should be pretty easy. Alshon, obviously, his number 1 wide receiver option there, besides obviously Ertz being there, who does obviously take some targets. Probably will finish as the tight end 1 or 2 this week. I'm confident starting Djax as well, because Djax is a guy who's going to burn easy matchups. The Redskins are an easy matchup. Djax could potentially score a touchdown this game and have some definitely great upside in a PPR format where he could catch 5 or 6 balls this game. And then you're going to just sit every single Redskins wide receiver. You don't want anything to do with the Skins offense at all, besides maybe Darius Geis. Stay away from the Redskins wide outs. Next game, Bills at the New York Football Jets. You're going to be starting Robbie Anderson as long as he is healthy. He's been dealing with that injury. I'm recording this on a Friday night. This video is going out on Saturday. If Robbie Anderson's dead on Sunday, obviously not dead, but if he's not playing, then you don't fucking play him. John Brown is the only Bills wideout that I'm willing to start, because he seems like the wide receiver 1 on the team, and I'd rather just play it. If you're starting John Brown, he's your flex, so you shouldn't be too worried about it. I think he'll have a pretty solid game. This should be a pretty high-scoring game. I'm going to sit Quincy and Jameson from the Jets, and then from the Bills, you're going to be sitting Cole Beasley, Zay Jones, and Robert Foster to see how it all pans out. Figure out who the wide receiver 2 is on the Bills behind Mr. John Brown, and for the same reason for the Jets, I don't know how good Quincy will do or how good Jamison Crowder will do, so I'll certainly just bench them. You definitely should have better options than that. They are very late round pick guys in Quincy and Jamison Crowder. Falcons at Vikings. You're going to be starting all of the wide receivers in this game. Julio Jones, if he plays. Now, he was threatening, I'm going to hold out week 1. I need a new contract. Who really knows? I think he'll probably play week 1. I'm pretty confident that he'll play. You'll start Calvin Ridley also. I don't know how much you want to start Mr. Muhammad Sanu. I don't know how much you want to do that. I'd probably just sit him. He's not even on the sit list, but I would sit him. And then you would start Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, the 2 wideouts for the Vikings. As long as Stephon Diggs is good to go. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. All of these guys should be pretty obvious starts. This should be a pretty good game for both quarterbacks, Breeze and Kirk Cousins. This should be a pretty high-scoring matchup where I think both quarterbacks could throw 2 or 3 touchdowns. I like this game a lot. Obviously, go with Julio, Ridley, Thielen, Diggs. Should be pretty obvious that you were starting them anyways. You drafted these guys all before the 5th or 6th round came to a close, so it should be pretty obvious here that that's who you would be going with. Sorry if you just heard my microphone just fly off my desk. I'm an idiot and I knocked it over. Next game, Ravens at Dolphins. You're going to start no one, sit everyone, because you don't know which wide receiver on the Dolphins that actually is the number 1 wide receiver. Could be Albert Wilson. Kenny Stills sent out of town to Houston. Could be Devontae Parker. It could be that Williams guy who looks pretty good. Who knows? And then on the Ravens, who knows if Marquise Brown uh, is going to be good? Hollywood Brown. Who knows about the other wide receivers? There's a bunch of other wide receivers. Just sit everyone. Play Mark Andrews. Fucking sit everyone else. It's going to be just the Lamar Jackson running show. And Fitzpatrick will probably throw 4 touchdowns to some random wide receivers that you've never even heard of. Chiefs at Jaguars is the next game. You're going to be starting Mr. Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and D.D. Westbrook. You're going to sit Marquise Lee. I don't even have him on here, but he's probably the only other option you'd be looking at. He was dealing with that injury all off season, and while he may play week 1, I'm not going on him. I'd rather just start DD. I think DD is a great play this week, an amazing flex option. This should be a very high scoring game. Obviously, Tariq could burn the Jags defense. The Jags do have a solid defense, but Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins are guys that you're going to want to start. Obviously, Tyreek would be your actual wide receiver 1, and Sammy Watkins would be a flex option. Should be a pretty good game to watch with your eyes. Game number, say, 5 or 6. Titans at Browns. You're going to be starting Mr. Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, the 2 wideouts for the Browns. Now, there's obviously other wideouts in the game on the Browns they're going to be playing. You just start Odell. Odell was dealing with that hip injury. He's not 100%. I believe he said he was like 90%, but that's as good as it's going to get. I would be kind of scared about Odell, but you're obviously going to fire him up. The Titans' defense is fucking terrible. Mike Vrabel said he would cut his dick off if it meant that the Titans won the Super Bowl. The Titans ain't winning the Super Bowl with sorry-ass Mariota, so you're going to sit all of the Titans' wide receivers. Who knows if Mariota will even make it past this game? Will Tannehill come in? Will that be 3 games down the line? Who really knows? Jarvis should also be a solid option to start this game. I like both of those Browns wide outs. Next game, Colts at Chargers. You're going to be starting Mr. T.Y. Hilton of the Colts. He's the only Colts wideout that I'm going to be starting. Funches and Campbell on the bench. I don't love T.Y. Hilton this game, but I think you definitely start him. You probably draft him pretty high. We got to see how Jacoby Brissett does. Like in last video, I said I'm not starting Jacoby Brissett, but I'd definitely be willing to start T.Y. Hilton in this game. Could have a pretty solid game. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, on the other hand, should be amazing starts this week. Keenan Allen was dealing with that injury all offseason not all offseason, but for the past couple of weeks. He should be good to go. I believe this week they will be looking to throw the ball a lot more while Melvin Gordon's out at the beginning of the season. So I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams will have great games this week against the Colts, who obviously have a pretty decent defense. But with that being said, Phillip Rivers is going to air the ball out a lot. I love Keenan Allen and Mike Williams this week, and T.Y. Hilton, I'm obviously going to start him, but I don't love it. Next game, Bengals at the Seattle Seahawks. This should be an absolute demolish. This game should be, I don't even know how the fuck to describe it. It should be a destruction of the Bengals. Seahawks are going to destroy them. You're going to start Boyd on the Bengals, obviously. Some people are worried, let me sit Tyler Boyd. Don't get too cute. Tyler Boyd should have a solid game regardless. Now, it's not going to be his best game. The Seahawks have a solid defense. But with AJ Green out, I think Boyd should definitely be able to eat this game and be pretty solid. Obviously, you're going to lock Lockett into your lineup. Lockett is really the only option out there. It's going to be the Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett show. DK Metcalf is a sit because he's been dealing with that injury. And I don't really want to start DK Metcalf week 1. Got to really analyze how he's doing before I am confident starting Mr. DK Metcalf in my fantasy football lineup. But I really do love Lockett this week. He should score a touchdown in this game. Probably get you over 100 yards and destroy the Bengals by the hands of Russell Wilson, who was also a start at quarterback in my last video. I'm not going to give away all the starts, so go and watch that shit after this is done. Next game, 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to be starting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin from the Buccaneers. Pretty obvious you drafted both these guys before the 5th round came to a close likely. This game should be a certified shootout. Should be 2 teams throwing the ball back and forth, scoring touchdowns. Evans should come down with a touchdown. I think Godwin will score a touchdown. Jameis Winston will be slinging the rock. Both guys should probably get around 100 yards. Obviously, I don't know if Chris Godwin's going to score a touchdown, but I really do think Mike Evans is going to score a touchdown. It's hard to predict touchdowns on a week-in, week-out basis, but you're going to be seeing a bunch of targets for both Evans and Godwin, and I really like this matchup for them. Dante Pettis, he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on the team. I would definitely be confident starting him, not as my wide receiver 2, more of as a flex. Same thing with Chris Godwin. He would be in a deeper league flex. I don't necessarily love Godwin this week, but I think that the 49ers will be slinging the rock a lot because it's going to be a high-scoring game. and then just sit Debo Samuels and all the other wide receivers that are on the 49ers. Next game, here we go. It is the Giants at the Cowboys, a certified bloodbath. The Cowboys are going to destroy the Giants. I'm going to start Sterling Shepard, though. Should be good to go week one. Probably the only option on the Giants besides Evan Ingram and Saquon Barkley. Should have a pretty okay game. I don't love starting him this game, but I would be willing to start him as my flex. Amari Cooper obviously should be locked and loaded this week to play amazing. I know he will disappoint certain games. You drafted him highly, though. You got to start him this game. It is an ideal matchup for him. Michael Gallup also a flex option. The Cowboys may absolutely pull the pants down of the Giants and destroy them this game. Dak Prescott should have a pretty solid game. I like Michael Gallup as a flex option here. Next game, Lions at Cardinals. You're going to be starting both of the Lions wide receivers, Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay. Like I said in all the draft videos, that I think Golladay and Jones will probably have solid year. Both of them will be around each other. Galladay's drafted way higher, so obviously I like Jones's value more in the draft, but now the draft's fucking over. I like Golladay and Jones to play pretty good against the Cardinals. Maybe end up being a high-scoring game because both defenses don't look amazing. But at the same time, I don't love all the Cardinals wide receivers. I'd be willing to potentially start Christian Kirk in this game, but I don't love Fitz or any of the other guys around him. And then there's no other Lions wide receivers. Not like you're going to be starting Danny Amendola. So with that being said, I would be willing to start Christian Kirk, like I said, but I don't love it. So that's why he's semi a sit, semi a start. He's like halfway on the fucking bench. Steelers at Patriots. Sunday night football. I almost said Friday night football. You're going to be starting Juju and Dante Moncrief from the Steelers. Should be pretty obvious to go with Juju. Juju should be a wide receiver one this week. The Patriots do have a solid defense. They will probably be able to lock Juju down a bit, but he's going to be getting peppered with targets from Big Ben Roethlisberger. It should be pretty easy for Juju to have a solid game. Next guy in the Steelers, Dante Moncrief. I believe he's the wide receiver 2 on the team. All things that have came out show that he's the wide receiver 2, so we're starting him in this game. Should be a high-scoring matchup, so high-scoring affair between the Steelers and the Patriots. You're going to be starting Julian Edelman of the Patriots and Flash Gordon, savior of the universe. Flash Gordon is now staying off the weed, apparently. He's going to be all good this whole season. Maybe. I don't know. I like Josh Gordon. He's a good story. I'd like to see him succeed. I like Flash Gordon this week. I like Julian Edelman this week. Like I said, should be a high-scoring matchup. Brady loves Julian Edelman in PPR. Should be destructive as long as he can stay on the field. Flash Gordon should also be pretty solid. And the only sit is James Washington because, like I said, I don't love James Washington at all. Didn't like him in the draft season. Don't like him during the regular season. Won't like him during the playoffs either. Do not start James Washington. Now we're on to the Monday night games. Texans at Saints. You're obviously starting DeAndre Hopkins. If you were even considering not starting him, I don't know what you're doing. DeAndre Hopkins should be a great wide receiver this week. Probably a top 5 option against the Saints. Should be a high-scoring game. The Saints never are able to figure it out week one. They got fucking their pants pulled down last year by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Or the year before that. I can't remember, because I'm dumb, and these games are just all morph into my head. I'm not like Sean McVay. I don't remember every single play of every game. But with that being said, you should also go with Will Fuller on the Texans. While healthy, Will Fuller is like a goddamn cheat code. That dude's amazing. He's an amazing wide receiver too. Will he be able to stay on the field for 16 games? Probably not. But at week 1 versus the Saints, I'll certainly do that. Start again also, Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas. I love Michael Thomas this week. I think that this should be a high-scoring affair. Breeze should have a pretty solid game, and Michael Thomas is a great wide receiver who got that contract that he wanted. Should be playing strong. Mike Thomas is going to fucking score a touchdown and call someone on the phone again. Should be a pretty solid game for Michael Thomas. You're going to be sitting Kiki Kuti. Why? Because I don't know how healthy Kiki Kuti is, or if he will even play. Will he even get into the game week 1? Probably not. So I'm just going to sit him. You're going to sit Stills. There's other fucking wide receivers on the Saints like Traquan Smith, who was a late round option, but who I was willing to take. I've taken him in a few leagues, but you're not starting him week 1. You want to see how it goes. You want to see if he's the wide receiver 2. Ted Ginn, if you want to close your eyes and blatantly start Ted Ginn, you can go ahead and do that. I want to do that, though. But, some people are crazy. Final game, Broncos at the Oakland Raiders. We're going to be starting Antonio Brown, guys. Now, I know reports came out that he did some bad things, guys. He was yelling at Mike Mayock. But you know what? knock on wood, if you're with me, like John Gruden, Antonio Brown is going to be a solid wide receiver this week. He's going to suit up week 1. They said he's playing. I'm confident in starting him. I don't know how high he'll fucking play. I don't know if he'll just be a diva and throw his helmet off in the middle of the game. But I'm definitely starting him when he's on the field. Next receiver for the Broncos, we're going to be starting Emmanuel Sanders and Courtland Sutton. I don't really know about Deshaun Hamilton. That's why he's a sit. Emmanuel Sanders or Sutton, this is kind of a crapshoot. I don't love either of these guys. They're definitely flex options who I don't really love, but if I was stuck in a pickle, I would certainly start. We're sitting Hamilton because, like I said, I don't really know if it's going to be Hamilton or Sutton or Sanders. Who's the wide receiver 1? Who really knows? You're also going to be seeing Tyrell Williams because the Broncos have a pretty solid defense. And Tyrell Williams would have been a certified steal this week to go with Tyrell Williams if AB was out. But now with AB being in there, I think he's going to take too many of the targets away from Tyrell Williams for him to be worth it. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If you so happened to enjoy, you so happened to get any joy from this video, you loved it, you enjoyed it, it was the greatest video you've ever fucking watched, knock on your fucking wood if you enjoyed. Knock on that fucking wood. Knock on the subscribe button. I love each and every one of you. Have a great goddamn day. Click on one of the videos that's on your screen. The quarterback video from yesterday should be on the screen. Click on that. Learn about the quarterbacks. Learn about everything. Click the subscribe button to learn about everything fantasy football. I love you all. Let's get this work on Sunday. Fuck your opponent. Let's do it, boys.